What in the fuck did I just watch? Hey guys, welcome to Happywax TV. Wow, where do I start with this one? Listen, you know when you watch a trailer for a movie, like long before it comes out, and it's like you're excited because the trailer makes it look good? And you're Xing those days down on your calendar to when this movie gets released, you know, and then it's finally that day and you sit down and you watch it and you're like, I'm not even 10 minutes into this movie and I'm like, what in the fuck am I watching? Like this, okay, honestly, listen, I know you have to lower some expectations for a lower budgeted movie, okay, but when you have actors and actresses in this movie like Thomas Jane, Jay Moyer, Sean Patrick Flannery, Amanda Wise, I mean, my expectations are going to be high, okay? I don't care. And this honestly is terrible. This movie is absolutely terrible. I watched another review by Geek Legion of Doom before I sat down here just to see what he had to say about it. And I mean, he was a lot more politer about calling this movie a pile of shit. But I mean, God, honestly, this movie is a pile of shit. It's fucking terrible. It's called Hunter's Moon. It was originally called The Orchard. Either name, whatever. It's directed by Michael Kalasy, I think that's how you say his name. I think he's relatively new, and he also wrote this. But I'll tell you, man, like, how do people fund these movies? I don't understand. Like, I could understand if this was like a zero budget with like a bunch of no-name actors and actresses, but all these faces are familiar. Like, we've seen these people in big budget movies before. Like, what is, like I've said this before with some other movies, is it tough go in Hollywood these days where you got to sign on for stuff like this? Like this movie's terrible. The dialogue in this movie is fucking terrible. I've said this before too. You can have a lower budgeted movie. I get it. But the dialogue and the story has to be there. And if you don't have that, even on the most basic level, it's not going to carry the movie. And it doesn't. The dialogue and the way these characters interact with each other is fucking horrendous. It's high schoolish. Like, God, honestly, it's fucking high schoolish. I mean, the whole time listen, I'm going to say this too. If you can't figure this movie out in the first act, if you can't figure out how this is going to end, then, I mean, you probably shouldn't be watching movies. Everything was so apparently obvious as to what was going on. I mean, again, even this big twist that they had at the end, and I don't want to give spoilers, but whatever. I mean, I guessed it like 15 minutes into this movie. You know, and I thought, okay, well, this is a werewolf movie. I mean, we can see that in the trailer. And honestly, the trailer makes this movie look fucking great. But, I mean, fooled again. You know what I mean? But I'm thinking, okay, werewolf movie, you know. And then when they have the big reveal of the werewolf, it's fucking terrible. I mean, again, I get low budget, but I'm investing in this movie because of who's in it. A bunch of big actors and actresses, you know what I mean? And this is what they pull off? Who the fuck funds this stuff? How do they get backers for this movie? I mean, mind you, they don't need many because, I mean, God, honestly, it was just more or less shot at a farmhouse. It's not like they really had to set anything up. Even the fog and stuff in the orchard looked phony. Like, you could tell it was a smoke machine. Like, oh my God, like, I don't know. I have nothing good to say about this movie. I honestly don't. I was so disappointed. I was fucking stoked to see this movie. I waited and waited for it, and it finally came out, and I fucking watched it last night. Usually I watch my movies in the morning when I get up around 4 a.m. I watched this one last night. I actually stayed up, and I was so pissed off after I fucking watched it, I couldn't sleep. I was like, what the fuck? It's like, this was one of my, up to this point anyways, must-see movies of 2020, and this is what I got? Man, I'll tell you, the trailer fooled me on this one. Like, I don't have anything good to say about this. I mean, the werewolf creature is fucking terrible. The dialogue in this movie is fucking terrible. The way they react to each other, you know what I mean, is stupid. It's almost like they just didn't want to be there. And God, honestly, I don't know if their agents made them do this movie. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I haven't even gotten to the synopsis yet. Do you want me to tell you what the synopsis is? Left alone for the night in their new orchard farmhouse, 3 teenage sisters soon find themselves at the mercy of some unscrupulous town boys. The tables are turned, however, when the malevolent that roams the orchard starts to hunt down the boys. Oh boy, well, I mean, we can figure that all out in the trailer. And I'm not going to go on, you know, with the big shock ending or big twist end. Listen, if you can't figure it out in the first fucking 10 to 15 minutes of this movie, as soon as you meet the family and they're at this new orchard house that they bought, if you can't figure out from their fucking dialogue what is going to happen at the end of this movie, then I don't know what to tell you. I mean, the only good thing about this movie is it's only an hour and 20 minutes long. So at least they didn't drag it out to like an hour and 40 or whatever, like some of these fucking movies do. I'll tell you, I can't be. I was disappointed. This is by far right now my biggest disappointment of 2020. Holy fuck. And the effects. Are you kidding me? Like, I get it, and I've said this 100 times, and I'm going to sound like a hypocrite here, okay? I will take a guy in a rubber suit over a fucking... Okay, but this movie, I mean, again, when you go into movies like this, if it had, like, no actors in it, you know what I mean? Like, I've done reviews on some movies where the actors are so new, or so, you know what I mean, that they don't even have pictures on IMDb yet. I mean, this has got Thomas Jane in it. Okay, it's got fucking Jay Moyer in it, Sean Patrick Flannery. These are big name actors, and the best you can do with the werewolf design is what we fucking saw in the big reveal. Christ, its fucking mouth didn't even move. It was fucking terrible. Like, woo! I know that's a spoiler, but yes, this is a werewolf movie, and you eventually do get to see the creature. Thank God, only for like a couple seconds, but wow. And again, I mean, I don't know what happened when they were making this movie. I'm sure, budgets and the fucking, you know, producers stepped in the way or whatever, the distribution companies. Then don't make the fucking movie. Like, God, honestly, if you're going to make a pile of shit like this, and if you're going to make excuses as to why it's so fucking bad, then don't make the fucking movie. Nobody is going to watch this movie and fucking like it. And if you do, it's like watching, you know what this movie reminds me of? It's like watching a fucking after school movie. You know, back in the day, like 20 years ago, they'd have these after school movies. That's what this fucking looked like, with a tad bit of gore in it. Even the fucking gore is a joke. Oh, anyways, whatever, I'm done. This movie's a fucking huge disappointment. Whatever. To give it a rating, out of 10, I'd probably give it a 2. You know what I mean? Like, it was terrible. What a fucking disappointment this was. Sorry I keep going on here, but I just had such high expectations. I was so excited to see this fucking movie. And it was awful. Just absolutely awful. So anyways, Hunter's Moon. I mean, by all means though, please, like I always say, go rent it. It's on YouTube now. You can rent it on YouTube. It's on all the video platforms, like $5. Watch it and see if I'm over exaggerating. Okay. And then come back in the comments and let me know what you thought of this pile of shit. Okay. And tell me, say, am I over exaggerating? I don't think I am. This movie is terrible, and it was a huge disappointment, especially with the cast in it. Again, if it had lower actors and actors in it, I could buy into it, okay? But this, I mean, you don't put these fucking this quality of acting in this movie, or actors, again, the acting in this movie was fucking terrible, but you don't put these quality of actors and actresses who've been around in huge fucking movies, and you get this as the final product. Give me a fucking break. Anyways, Hunter's Moon, check it out. Let me know what you guys thought of it, and until next time, guys, stay scared.